Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 37 of Security Matters with a Coffee Squad. Today, it's just Will and I, and our topic that we're going to talk about today is holiday shopping safety. As the holidays come around, Will, it's kind of a fun, happy time of year. And it seems like when it's just you and I, we kind of have these like doom and gloom. We take I guess we take the fun out. You know, um,
I have
and
been called a fun sucker, so
oh yeah, well, I mean, maybe yeah. So, anyways, that's the topic we're going to talk about today. Hopefully, give everyone a little bit of insight on how to be more secure as they prep for the holidays coming up. So, kind of
I
start
think it's
off
just
with
kind
what
of
we're drinking.
inherent in our job. We kind of look for the worst case scenarios. So when we talk about it, I think it's kind of inherent of what we do. So it's not necessarily that we're doom and gloom. It's just we kind of have to prepare for the worst. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's a great point. I just as we were preparing for this, I'm like, man, it seems like we suck the fun out sometimes. But it is what it is, and hopefully we give our listeners and viewers out there just hopefully they take a tip or two away that helps prevent a little. What is it? An ounce of prevention prevents like a pound of misery or something like that. Whatever that
yeah,
saying
something
is.
like
So
that. Yeah.
hopefully, we give a little bit of prevention out there to help some of our listeners out there, and also it's just a good reminder for us as well. So yeah. Before we jump on that topic, man, how was fishing? How was that Veterans Day fishing retreat up there?
Well, knowing what you did over the Veterans Day holiday, I guess you call it. Yeah, I don't feel so bad, right? I mean, we stood out in the rain all day. No, it was a really good event. Justin was on last week, and with excuse me, and we went up there. Beautiful, beautiful area, Star Tannery, Virginia. I didn't catch anything. I didn't even get a bite, but I worst day of fishing is better than the best day of work, right? So, I mean, other
Oh,
than
for
our
sure.
job, because this job's pretty good, but most jobs, if you don't have that passion, even if you
Yeah,
don't catch anything and stand in the rain all day, it's better than sitting at your desk working. But no, a couple people had some luck fish, catching fish. Really good veterans event. Herb was on there. Herb was back on our 4th of July episode. He was up there, so got to talk to him for a little bit. So it was a good time. Yeah, I really appreciate what Justin did, putting it all together, and it was a good event. Yeah, I had a good time. What
awesome.
about you? So you can talk about your shark bait experience.
Yeah. So what was the biggest fish that was caught? You guys are fishing for trout, right?
I think somewhere around 8 pounds, 7 8 pounds. I think is what it
Wow,
came up to. Yeah,
that's a big
they
trout.
said there was some 10 pounders in there. Like I said, I saw a bunch of fish. They just didn't like what I was throwing at
What were
out
you
there for
throwing?
them. So whatever they provided us with the tackle and stuff. So we
Okay.
had I don't know, fake worms and trout nuggets and whatever I
Yeah.
could try, but
Yeah.
they just didn't like me. But it's no big deal. I've caught plenty of trout
They
back
hurt.
when I was growing
They
up.
hurt. They
So
hurt your feelings, is what you're saying.
it did kind of embarrass me because I was like, I used to trout fish all the time growing up, and yeah, no,
Yeah. I mean, that's why they call it fishing, not catching, right?
yep,
And hey, at least you're outdoors and enjoying the outdoors. I think that's great. And on Veterans Day, celebrating it with other veterans is a plus. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So
And how was your
cool.
paddle across the Pacific?
You're gonna see me keep doing this a lot, popping my shoulders and neck. It was good. So great event. We had Danny Nichols on a few months back. Talking about training and stuff, and training to cross to do 32 miles in the open ocean, do a channel crossing from Catalina Island to Huntington Beach. I don't know if you can ever be prepared for it. I remember like Tuesday night, it was like, what am I doing? Why? Why do I set myself up for this? So I train, here on a lake. That's about, when I go around the lake, it's about 4.5 miles on a good day. And the lake terrain versus open ocean, completely
Huge
different.
difference. Yeah.
Um, and the weather didn't quite cooperate in the morning like we had hoped. In the afternoon, it was great. It was awesome. So in the morning, man, I struggled. I fell off the board. There was a bet how many times I'd fall off. I think the lowest number was 3. The highest was 15. I only fell off 4 times before I said, screw this. Waves were coming from the front, from both sides, and from the back. There's no way I was going to stabilize. Plus, you have all the, the nerves and the jitter, going on. But I ended up sitting down on top of a stand-up paddleboard and just paddled the whole way through, except for about 4.5 miles. It got pretty gnarly there, and Danny made the decision for everyone to get in these little boats and kind of drove us for about 4.5 miles and put back in. And it was weird as the day got, went on. I got stronger and stronger. And then the weather totally cooperated at the end. So the last, I'd say, about 18 miles wasn't too bad. So yeah, they call it type 2 fun, which
Type
is
2 fun.
it sucks when you're going through it, and then when you look back, you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
So
Accomplishment fun. Yeah.
yeah, so I'll definitely do it next year. I mean, the channel is soul sucking at times, and you're just like, I am not going anywhere. Luckily, for us, we have that military experience of just accomplish a mission, and so
Embrace the suck. Get it done.
yeah, once you put your mind to it, you just go. So yeah, it was a great time. Great group of veterans out there, and we did it with a bunch of first responders from the Huntington Beach area, Orange County area. So we had some firemen, some police officers out there. There's a few relay teams, and then just from the boat captains to the event organizers to I actually had a professional stand-up paddleboarder, Morgan. She was my coach the whole way through, and for about 9.5 hours, the poor thing, we just talked the whole time, and to me, hey, if I can have a conversation while I'm sucking, it's good. So yeah, it was a great time. I got in late last night, a little exhausted, but good time. So it's also good to be back at work. It's kind of weird, So for about 2.5 days, I didn't have my phone. We didn't have cell reception out there, and so you start thinking oh man, what am I missing? Something going on in that worry. So it's good to get back to work. So yeah, we kind of finish up this
Awesome.
the next few month and a half, finish strong. So
Yeah. So
what are you drinking today?
I was gonna say, I know what you're probably drinking, but so when I was up there in Virginia, I went to this little coffee shop, Nancy's, in downtown Strasburg, and they had really good coffee. So I bought a bag. I don't know if you can see it. It's called the Funky Chicken.
Oh, is it funky? And does it taste like chicken?
Funky Chicken. It is not funky, nor does it taste like chicken. It's from Red Rooster Coffee. They sell it at that place out of Floyd, Virginia. And the Funky Chicken is a flavorful crowd pleaser with notes of very dark chocolate and a sweet citrus finish. It's good. I like it. I don't get all those notes, but it's still a nice, good cup of coffee, medium roast. So that's what I'm drinking right now. And of course, I got my nice sparkling cranberry water today.
Cool. I think it's cool that coffee or anything that you like, right? And I know you're a coffee connoisseur, but when you go to new places, you can find something cool and try, you try and half. If you like it, you buy a bag. So, and you're supporting small business, which is also very cool. So that's awesome.
What kind of water are you drinking? Oh, sorry.
I'm drinking a Pellegrino, dark Morello, cherry, and pomegranate. So
Dark like Merlot? What?
I don't know. Morello cherries. They're actually pretty good. I think they're made up in Washington or something. Washington State.
Cool.
But it's good. Yeah, it's just a cherry flavor. I don't really taste the pomegranate. And of course, water. My lip is split. I didn't put any chapstick on my or sunscreen on my lips. But yeah, I chugged a ton of water all week. So want to hear a great little coffee thing. So I don't drink coffee. I suck at coffee, and I didn't do this on purpose. My physical therapist flew out, and luckily I had her and that pro stand-up paddleboarder there, and I probably wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't have made it without those two. I mean, taking care of me and hooking it up. So the PT, she always drinks coffee in the morning, like most people, right? And there's a little Keurig, so I put it in. But I was drinking mint tea, and I've put my mint tea bag in her coffee. On accident, wasn't thinking right. It's like, hey, it's 4:30 in the morning.
So there's a joke there, but I'm gonna let it slide. But go ahead.
So put my green tea bag in her coffee cup, and then I'm just drinking like hot water. I'm like, man, this thing sucks. Like it just tastes like there's no flavor to it. And she's like, oh, my coffee tastes weird. It tastes minty. I was like, oh man. She was a trooper. She drank it. I just drank the hot water basically because it was freezing out there.
Thought you had some COVID, lost your sense of flavor.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man. So yeah. All right, so let's jump in this topic here, right?
All right.
Let's do this. So holiday shopping safety. Well, let's hit us with some stats that you found.
Well, some of the stats I found. Well, so according to the National Crime Victimized Survey, the two main specific crimes that increase in December are robbery and personal larceny, which makes sense, right? You can have more people are walking around with money in their wallets and stuff like that, shopping, porch pirates, getting sent stuff to their houses, so that makes sense, right? According to the study by the 2019 package theft report by Shore.com, almost 1 in 4 U.S. adults say they have had at least one package stolen. And 7 in 10
Have you ever had a package stolen?
Knock on some wood. No, I have not.
Yeah.
So I don't get a lot of up until this, I didn't get a lot of packages sent to my address, but now that everything's pretty much gone to online with the COVID and stuff, and honestly, it's easier most of the time to just order it and wait a couple days. But no,
That's how it is for us.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a mall here. So we order everything online for the most part.
We do. I just don't go to it. But anyways, so nearly 7 in 10, so 70% said they weren't willing to change up their online holiday shopping habits in the face of package theft. So, typical hard-headed Americans, right? According to an article in Washington Post, retail crime increases by 30% during this time of year. Many of the thieves work in organized retail crime groups, stealing tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise to sell on the black market. Jewelry, name brand jeans, and electronics are among some of the most targeted items. Black Friday is also the biggest day of the year for retail, but in return, I guess, you get the biggest day of retail theft. So an analyst by Travelers Insurance indicates that total theft incidents reported on Black Friday are 2% higher, which doesn't sound a lot, but if, 2% is actually a pretty, 2% by millions is a huge number. And according to Black Friday, not just larcenies and stuff, according to blackfridaydeathcount.com, since 2006, there has been 12 deaths and 117 injuries due to Black Friday sales and shopping. So whether it's stampedes or fighting over stuff, but you think, 12 deaths, that's not that bad, but that's over shopping. Just going to the store.
How I talked about doom and gloom in the beginning. I think you just put that very dark cloud right there with that statistic, man. That's 14 years? Well, 13 years basically, 12 deaths and 117 injuries. That's nearly a death a year, almost.
Yep, almost one a year.
Well, hopefully it wasn't. I know a few of those have been, violent and altercations, but my gosh.
I know, having worked a few Black Fridays in my previous profession, that we would have fights break out over especially the electronics. That's like the big name ticket items, the big screen TVs, flat screens. Those are, people would start fighting over them, and one thing would lead to another, and next thing you know, somebody's pulling out a knife, and it can get nasty sometimes. It's amazing to me how people act when they think they're getting a deal or a steal, I guess. So, I don't know.
Have you ever been at a Black Friday, like at the 4 a.m. kind of openings before?
No,
have you ever done that?
I don't do that.
I did it one time, a lot younger, with my older sister. She's all about it. She does it every year. It's nuts to me. I did it one time with her, and I was like, this is the most asinine thing I've ever seen in my life. And to me, it's just not worth the deal. And half those deals are gone before you even get in. And so it's just a big lure to get you in. I don't know. To me, it's not worth it. I know to other people it is, and hey, good on you. Hopefully, everyone can keep a cool, calm head and go away. I think it'd be frustrating. Hey, if the doors open at 4 and you're out there at 2 in the morning and you're first in line, and someone who just shows up before you, like I could see, I'd definitely be frustrated. Would I be
Oh
frustrated
yeah.
enough to get in a physical fight over it? Probably not. It's just that to me just isn't worth it.
Luckily, my
Yeah, look,
yeah, the people I know, that was like an event for them. They used to love it. They would camp out.
yeah,
They didn't care. So I was like, hey, while you're there, why don't you grab something for me? If you see it, if not, then whatever. I'm not worried about it. So
yeah. I
it
mean,
wasn't
this
that
year,
huge of a thing.
I wonder how it's going to happen. With COVID. Um, I can tell you, it seems like things are getting just traveling. Like I traveled earlier this summer out to California, and I would say it was much more regulated this time
Oh yeah, definitely more
with
regulated.
travel.
Yeah.
You know, there were stores shut down in the airport, restaurants shut down in the airport. LA County, I flew into LAX. So LA County is a little bit more stringent than other counties, but it was in the Delta Lounge. You know, it was a grab and go bag only, and you couldn't sit in there and eat. And even if you were talking on your phone, you still had to wear a mask. So um, I would say it seems like we see the COVID numbers going up and up. Um, it'll be interesting. I know I looked at CDC's website um, as far as their holiday precautions, and they talk about the holiday dinners and everything. And I know we're talking about crime and shopping crime on during the holiday seasons, and they consider shopping in a crowd of stores, you
Yeah.
know, before, on, or after Thanksgiving. That is a high risk. So same with going to parades and stuff. So I know where I live, tiny town, they've already canceled all the Christmas parades. So yeah, you've talked about shopping um, there. I told you I do a lot of online cyber shopping, and so some of the statistics I found for that, just interesting, was that the highest fraud attempted rates are on Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and December 21st. And I was like, why December 21st? And I looked into it a little bit more, but most stores, that's your last day to purchase something. They usually guarantee it to be there by Christmas. So
Yep. Probably not
um,
this year. Everything's running behind right now.
yeah, so think about it. And we'll talk about um, ways to protect yourself against cybercrime. But I think let's kind of jump into what you were talking about: going to the mall, going shopping, or having packages delivered. What are
Well,
some ways people?
I think it's going to be interesting, like you were saying about having, if they are going to have a lot of the Black Friday sales and stuff like that. I know from what I've read, a lot of places were still planning it, but I know who knows what's going to change over the next 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But as far as
code
go
we're
ahead.
still learning more about. You know, um, and so I expect things to change. If things were the same, it like my little radar, it seemed weird, right? It's a new virus that's out there. Yes, we've known about it now, I guess, since January ish, as far as the U.S. is concerned, roughly. But that's new. That's still
August.
young.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
less than a year old. So, well,
So,
in the U.S., it's less than a year old.
yeah. So, what are some tips, Will? Like someone, let's say that um, I'm going to the mall, and I live in a decent size area. It doesn't matter whether it's a big city or, a middle sized city or a town. I'm going to the mall. We all know during holiday seasons it's always going to be crowded. What are some tips that you think someone should? Let's talk with parking,
So,
and then
I mean,
go from
parking
there.
is, everything boils down to, for me, is situational awareness. If you're parking at night, you want to park near a light, right? You don't want to park in a dark corner or next to bushes or anything like that. You want to stay out in the open or near other people in the light where people can see you. You want the being aware of your surroundings is, like, to me, the number one thing. Know what's around you, what's going on. Don't get on your phone or get in your purse or whatever and just not pay attention. Pay attention to, keep an eye out for cars following you around, following you home. And another thing, it's like a huge pet peeve of mine. I don't know. It just, don't leave your wallets, your purses, your bags, your purchases on the front seat of your car and go into a store. Because most crime happens are crimes of opportunity, and it's easier to just smash a window and grab than have to go through a car. So a lot of crime actually occurs because it's just a crime of opportunity. And it amazes me how much we put out there. Police departments all over the country put out there, don't leave your purse out in the open, don't leave a computer out in the open, your cell phone, whatever. And people do it all the time. When you're buying when you're making your purchases, you're going from one store to another, put it in the trunk, put it underneath the seat, or hide it the best you can. That's the biggest tip, other than your situational
or just go
awareness.
Home. Take it home.
I mean, once you're out, you want to go to store to store to store. I get it, but you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave a brand new PS5 or whatever you probably won't get that, but you don't want to leave your big ticket item just sitting on your front seat, and somebody's going to walk by and just smash and grab. I mean, it's.
So my wife is infamous for the purse on the front seat.
Yep.
It's like, no.
I tell people all the time. I mean, you can lead them. You can lead a horse to water. You just can't make him drink it. Another thing is shop in pairs or groups. Just like any other. When you're traveling or whatever, you want safety in numbers, especially if you're. Females and elderlies are usually at the highest risk because criminals kind of view these individuals as the least likely to fight back or the easy targets, soft targets. Mm-hmm. So it's always good to go in groups and be aware of scams. People, come up to you doing the whole, I need some money to get back to so-and-so for Christmas or for Thanksgiving. I need gas money and stuff like that. I'm always willing to help people, but there's programs, there's churches and stuff like that you can direct them to. Don't just, I don't know. My radar is always a little higher up on this time of year. I want to help people, but you got to check and verify that their stories are legit, right? I mean,
for sure. You talked about parking, at a mall, and some of these malls I know here in North Carolina, even in California, where I grew up, are massive, and the parking lots are absolutely massive, and there's bushes, and there's all sorts of stuff where, I remember seeing someone just hanging out in the bushes, and I didn't see him in it, and I was like, what the heck, especially at nighttime. So I always tell people, if you can, drive around, like just do like a little sweep, before you park. Just drive around, kind of look, okay, there's no one there, and then park. And then I tell my wife, hey, just stay on the phone with me, tell me where you're parking, where you're at, let me know. And just, you can hold on to your phone and just, same with that situational awareness. That way I know if something were to happen, I can hang up with her and call 911 right away and give them, okay, this is a general vicinity that, that something's happening at. So I don't like my wife going out at night anywhere by herself. So
I totally understand that. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and some new concerns this year are going to be the COVID concerns, right? And we touched on that already quite a bit. But large crowds, CDC said that, it is a high-risk activity. So, just make sure you are practicing your social distancing and your face mask wearing guidelines, whatever your local, state, federal, whatever guidelines and policies are. Just make sure, you're aware of that because it is a risk, you are taking. So let's
what about someone who's like walking with 20, 30 bags, are you setting yourself up more, for...
Of course you are. Yeah. I mean, I like to tell people to, once they get their bag, go back, put it away, and then go back to shopping, but I get it. You don't want to make those trips. People don't want to take the extra. So if you are going to do that, make sure that you walk out in a group of people, walk out with somebody else. That safety in numbers things. Don't make yourself an easy target by isolating yourself and making it look like you're distracted or unable to react if something does happen.
Yeah. I think you said it best, man. Like situational awareness. Know where you are. Look around. If you see someone following you, duck into a store.
Get a security guard to escort
you. Ask for a security guard. Say you just don't feel uncomfortable. have a conversation with someone, wait it out. A good way that you can almost see it, we always say, look, the first time you're running into someone, whatever. The second time, that's a coincidence, Third time, it's not a coincidence. So if you keep seeing that same person or, the same like little group of people, you can look in if you're shopping in a mall, all the storefronts have glass windows in there, and sometimes you can see reflections. That's always a good way to see of if someone's following you. Also, you can use the escalators, elevators too. Duck in there, channel them into somewhere. As long as you're going somewhere that's open and public, don't ever channel yourself into like a corner or a private spot that you're an easy target. So, just look at doing a little bit of counter surveillance on your own, and there are easy ways. You don't have to be a super spy to do any of that. Just constantly look around you, and you are shopping, so it's not abnormal to stop and look at the window. And as you're looking in the window, you can look to your left and look to your right, and through the window, because of the reflection, you can also see who's behind you. And they have all those little kiosks, so put on a pair of sunglasses, look in the mirror, that kind of stuff. Just good little tips, that people can do that you don't always think about. So.
And this time of year, most of those stores are going to have increased security personnel, if not increased police patrols and stuff. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can always flag somebody down, or even call and say, hey, can you just walk me to my car or whatever. Most of them are not going to have an issue with that, and that's always safe than sorry.
And I'd say that over the last few years, I've seen the police have set up those like little mobile centers in the parking lots. That raise up to kind of scan. They have a bunch of cameras and stuff in there, and scanning the parking lots and stuff. So I think here in the U.S. we've done a pretty good job as far as when it comes to like mall security and holiday security. Doesn't mean that bad stuff doesn't happen. And as a retailer, right, like make sure your employees know. If you're in the retail industry, make sure your employees know like what the guidelines are. Most employees aren't trained. To tackle someone and to be that security guard. So, make sure your employees know what's okay and what's not okay, and look at your liability for this time of year. So.
All right, so I think
cool.
that covers Black Friday pretty well. Why don't we talk a little bit about Cyber Monday and cyber shopping?
Yeah, so
I think it's going to definitely be. Go ahead.
No, I agree. I think we're going to see the largest percent, and cyber shopping's gone up like dramatically over the years. People just realize it's easier. You get pretty good deals. You can actually research before you buy it. Cyber shopping is just, with Amazon and everything else. Walmart's doing their version of an Amazon. Target's doing the same. All your major retail stores are doing it. I'm a big Amazon REI shopper. We've talked about the fraud attempts. Let's talk about seven ways that you can help protect yourself against cybercrime. So I say number one is always make sure you're on a secure site. And if you're a listener, you're like, well, how do I know? It's real easy. Look for the little padlock symbol in your website. It's usually on the top left. It looks for a little padlock. And just make sure that the website begins with HTTPS. You'll see a lot with HTTP, but not the S. So the S, you're looking for that S in that padlock. So,
and a lot of times especially when you start getting the credit cards, that's where sometimes I know websites, they're doing better now, but some websites still aren't secure until you get to that payment page. So just something to be aware of.
Yeah, I'm big on that, making sure you're on a secure site when you're going to buy something. And honestly, like most things these days. So the Hoover Test, we've talked about this before in the past with some of our cyber people, but before clicking any link or responding to any email, always hover your mouse over the address.
I can see you kissing the screen, Jake.
Or the included link in there. We always recommend don't ever click a link in an email. You can always type it out. But that little hoovering over the link will cause that embedded link to pop up. And so if that is, you can look for that HTTPS. Again, don't click on a link in an email. So I'd say number 3 is probably one of the more important ones that I constantly do is use your credit card, not your debit card when you're making purchases. I even say that when you're shopping, especially this time of year. Your credit card usually adds more protection against theft if the device is broken, returns, that kind of stuff. So, we've talked about insurance policies, right? With hurricanes and preparedness and everything else. Well, read your credit card. Go over, what they'll cover and what they won't cover, how long they have a protection. I know a lot of people don't realize that a lot of their credit cards, when you book like a rental car, will include some type of car insurance. But read through that paperwork and understand what your credit card covers. A credit card online, to me, is a must. Never use your debit card. And one of the big reasons is your debit card withdrawals directly from your bank account. And it doesn't offer the same level of protection from fraud that a credit card does.
So one thing I've been doing, because I don't have any credit cards, I got a preloaded card. Or you can buy the Visa cards that you can reload. Yep. So I bought that, and I just reload a couple $100 or whatever I'm going to spend on it, and that's what I'm using as a credit card because I don't have credit cards right now.
Yeah. And another thing too,
using my debit card, I just use that and load it up.
So you can use Apple Pay or PayPal. Those are they're a payment gateway, and that adds another layer of protection from your personal information or your personal bank account or your credit card. So you can use one of those too as well. So there is a lot of spam mail that goes along with those PayPal and Apple Pay. Criminals are onto that. So again, don't answer emails. Suspicious emails.
Don't click a link that you get in. Like Ray always says, don't click it.
Yeah, and avoid it. If either one of those industries, they want to contact you, they have your phone number, and they can make you can call them, they can call you, kind of a thing, and then always verify. I'd say step 4 is always check your bank account statements frequently, whether that's your debit card or your credit card. I have been part of my debit card has been used, and this is why I pretty much use a credit card anywhere I go, unless I'm buying like food at the grocery store, but or a gas station. They had little
skimmers.
They're skimming the number, and they drained my debit card one time. Luckily, the bank I cut it. I'm not a tech guy, and there's a bunch of computer stuff on there. I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. Going out to Seattle, Washington, but use your credit card, check your bank statements frequently. Not only just your credit card statements, but your also bank statements. So I think this is just a good habit to get into, but I definitely increase it during the holiday season. So the quicker you notice strange activity, the faster you can take steps to protect yourself, and the banks can either stop the payment and make the headache a little bit less. Also, keep a record of your transactions. Keep a record of your receipts of what you spent. And that you can kind of do a checks and balances. If you're like me and you're a big spender, you like to spend during the holiday season, and I always forget. It's a good way to tally it up too. So, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security also offers tips for preventing and responding to identity theft. So you can always go to DHS's website and Google that, and they have some pretty decent tips. So
most of your banks have pretty good safeguards and tips for you to do too.
Yeah.
So,
and I'd say your credit card companies are way easier to deal with. Some banks it could take weeks before you see that money coming back in. So we kind of talked about number 5 of don't respond to requests for information, and don't click the links that ask you to add or update any personal information. Don't do it. Don't click the links. Don't give out personal information. Just don't do it. Save yourself the headache and the ache of, if you do get it, what's going to happen. I also say, on top of checking your bank statements, check your credit reports also frequently. For information there where someone could have gotten it and you don't know about it. They could have opened up, a bank card or something, a credit card in your name. So also, I would look at that during this time of year and even after. So, when you are shopping online or checking anything that your personal identification information is out there, your PII is out there, only do that on a private device or on your own private Wi-Fi network. Don't go, I was in LAX yesterday, right? I do not get on LAX's shared server. I never do. Don't do it. So use your cell service. You can, you want to get on something, use your own cell service. So shopping on public devices and Wi-Fi, they put you at risk because it's impossible to know
Yep.
if that device has already been compromised with spyware or malware. There's also a chance that you might forget to log off your account, leaving your information exposed. I've seen this at hotels. If I've had to go print something, go to log in and there's like 6 different Gmail accounts open up, and I don't know who they are. If I was an evil person, could have at least made a few jokes and put a send all email or something. But yeah, make sure if you do use a public device like at a hotel or something, log off, and make sure you've logged off. Double check that.
Use a VPN.
And if you are, make sure you are not putting out any of your personal information. Don't check your bank accounts. Don't check your credit card statements. Nothing that really identifies who you are. When you're on a public Wi-Fi network, that also puts you at risk. So, I talked about LAX. If you go to Starbucks, a lot of your
almost everywhere has them now.
Yeah, it has a Wi-Fi. You go to a mall, you can log on to whoever's public Wi-Fi. Using public Wi-Fi, thieves are easier. It's easier for them to access that and intercept that data, and that does include credit card numbers and passwords. So it's so much better for you to use your cellular data instead of public Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit slower, be a little bit patient, or just don't use it at all. But again, this is just a little, one final way of protecting yourself. And then tip number 7 is, man, if you're in doubt, just don't do it.
Yep.
If it's like, should I not? In the military, we used to, say, screw it, let's just do it. Everything always happens better when it's live, I think is another slogan I've heard. That's fun
beg
and
for
all.
Forgiveness and ask for permission.
Yeah, that's great and all until it bites you in the butt, right? And so here, when we're talking about, your personal security and your personal bank accounts and everything else, if you've listened to everything we've just said, man, if it just doesn't make sense, you don't get that warm fuzzy, don't do it.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think at the end of the year, the last thing you want to deal with is arguing with your financial institution, saying that it wasn't you didn't do it, and basically having to prove yourself that something bad happened. So.
Yep. Yeah, so and kind of expanding on that, you want to be wary of the scams that are out there. If you see a deal that's too good to be true, it probably is, right? And they make them look legit. So if you see something that just seems way too good to be true, do some research, do your due diligence, as Jake would say. Go online if nobody else is selling it, because here's the thing about selling stuff. It's usually going to be pretty competitive. So if nobody else is giving you that deal or something close to it, it's probably too good to be true. So got to watch them, especially on the discounts on gift cards and Black Friday deals from an unfamiliar source.
Yeah.
Like Jake
if
said
you're a
earlier,
shopper that goes on like, sorry, Will, but if you're like a shopper that goes on to like Facebook Marketplace, right, or Craigslist, be careful. Be careful what's out there. Be careful what you're clicking on. And if you are meeting someone, meet them in a public place. Make sure it's daytime.
Most police departments and stuff nowadays have like parking meetup spots in their parking lot for that type of thing. So
Beautiful.
Meet them there.
I used to meet people. When I was a big road biker, and I obviously can't ride a road bike anymore. So when I was selling everything, I put on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and I made sure I met someone in a McDonald's parking lot, because to me, McDonald's there's always people around. There's always someone coming through.
Yep.
So make sure if you're meeting someone up, it's in a secure place. Cash, bills lower than 20 and under. So don't feel like you're being a jerk if you're sitting there with your little bill marker and marking it. But no one wants to get scammed. So
nope, absolutely. Well, so now that we've kind of suggested what to do prior to buying it, let's talk about what you do once you've ordered your stuff and it comes in, right? So, porch pirates. That's kind of it's been a growing trend over the years. The more obviously, the more deliveries you get, the higher chances of a porch pirate snatching your stuff, and it's crimes of opportunity. So some things that you can do is now, especially with COVID, there's a lot of people working at home, right? I know half of my neighborhood pretty much works all from home now. So if you can't be home for a package, tell your neighbor, say, hey, listen, I'm supposed to be getting a package today. Can you keep an eye out for it? And either have them grab it for you or watch it for you. You know, I have my neighbor watch it. You know, we talk to each other, say, hey, I got a package. When it gets there, can you go ahead and just put it in your house? I'll get it from you later, right?
Yeah, for sure. There's another thing like FedEx, UPS you can do. You can create an account and a login. So whenever you order it, if it's going through, I'd say most of the packages here, the three major companies that are delivering packages are FedEx, UPS, and the United States Postal Service. With FedEx and UPS, you can opt to pick up that package at their location. It's a high value item that you're not going to be home for. You know you're not going to be home for. You can either request a signature, so they're not going to drop it off unless someone's home to actually sign for it, or you can pick it up at that location.
If you are working, something you can think about asking your boss or your workplace if there's any policies or not, but have the package delivered to your work. You know, because if you can't be there, if you're not at home and they're delivering during work hours, hopefully they can hit you at work. Leave specific drop-off instructions. I've seen some people put like lock boxes on their front porch, and you know they say, hey, once it gets in there, go ahead and lock it for me. So I've seen those. Use a smart lock. Install security cameras. That'll help you after the fact, or it could be a deterrent. You know, you never know.
Yeah. I know like Ring. Simply Safe, they all have those doorbell cameras now, and you know, police are actually using them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, another thing that you can do is get a PO box. That way, you have it sent to your PO box, and it'll be in a secured spot there. You have to get it through the post office. Require a signature on your delivery. Do the return receipt, require a signature on it, so they can't just leave it on your front step or whatever. They actually have to get somebody to sign for it.
You know, on those apps too, like USPS, FedEx, UPS, there's trackers, and you can get live updates if you want to sign up for it. They'll send you a text. So
yep.
It's not always like up to the minute, but it's pretty dang close. So
I've got it with my Black Rifle coffee. You know, I don't want to miss that delivery. So they text me when they send it, they text me when it's out for delivery, and they text me when it's delivered. So, and it's usually within an hour, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. So. Also, have you seen Will? I don't know. Well, because I did have some downtime. YouTube. There's this gentleman, and it's actually gotten pretty big. I think he used like 7 or 8 different cities this last year, especially during the holiday season. He makes these glitter bombs for the pirate porch thieves out there, and so he creates these little packages, and it's like 4 or 5, 6 different cell phones, like disposable cell phones, and he puts a little sensor on there, and it's full of glitter. And I think he upped it last year where he had like a bunch of disgusting fart spray in there as well. So what would happen is these porch thieves, you know, they would track the package being sent by UPS. They also had cameras on it where that they could turn on and watch, and they'd watch. So a porch thief, they'd get an alert once the package was activated once it was set down at its location. It'd send them alert, and then they'd activate it, and they could watch. And then, you know, a porch thief would come grab it. And then they'd either wait for that person to get home to open it up, or in their car open it up and, you know, just get hosed with a ton of glitter in this fart spray that, you know, you're watching people nearly vomit because it smells so bad.
Yeah, I have seen that. Those are pretty funny.
A little off topic, but a little funny too with today's subject.
I think if I wanted to take the time and effort to do something like that, I'd do something a little more nefarious than just a glitter bomb, you know. I mean, I know it's a pain to clean, but I might have to, you know, I don't know, a stink bomb with some splatter technology or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably just can't hurt anyone. You know, if you get hurt, then it's, you know, that's a criminal law. So, for our listeners, if you're a smart person, somewhat of an engineer mindset, you cannot hurt anyone. That is against the law.
Yeah, it's booby trapping.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so hopefully, you know, our listeners, you get a little bit of something out of it today, right? Know your surroundings, know where you're parking your car, look around you, you know, don't leave stuff visibly open for everyone. If you're going on the cyber side, you know, make sure you're using technology appropriately, make sure you use your safeguards. Make sure you go to a secure site, and then don't click links that you shouldn't click, or ever. Don't click a link out of an email. You know, if you see, hey, I'm Jake, I'm a prince from Nigeria, and I want to share my $100 million wealth from you. I don't have $100 million. Sorry, it's a scam. Hate to break it to you out there if you haven't heard this yet, but the Nigeria prince, he's a scam. So
wait, so I shouldn't have sent him that money order?
No, you should just send it to me.
Gotcha.
I'd get much better use out of it, Will, and I'd actually maybe kick you back a little bit if you asked for it back. I'm a decent guy, unlike him. So, yeah, we want everyone to have a great holiday. Holiday shopping is coming up. Thanksgiving's right around, a few weeks away. And we know everyone. I know, like when I was out in California, I was already doing some Christmas shopping. So just be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on, and we hope that if this information helps and pass along to your friends and family members, that can save them a little bit of trouble if it happens. So,
yep.
What else you got, Will?
So like Jake was saying, just kind of reiterate, just pay attention to your surroundings and don't leave merchandise out where people can see it. That's kind of like my big two things with that, especially your purses and your bags and stuff like that. It's just so easy to grab. But anyways, we appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good holiday season. You learn something, and this may prevent a little bit of a headache for you. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel on youtube.com. Search the Coffee Squad podcast, and please comment, subscribe to see and hear our weekly episodes. Make sure you listen to us on coffeesquadpodcast.com. You'll find all of your favorite platforms there to listen on. If you are following us on Apple, please give us ratings and comments. That's how they track it. So we want, kind of bump our numbers up. Also on Instagram at coffee_squad_podcast. Leave comment, share with like-minded individuals. If there's anything you want us to touch on, please, reach out. We're always looking for new ideas. Yeah, I think that's
all right, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good week. Thanks,
all right,
Will.
thanks.